Welcome. You've got mail.
It's the Millennial Mid-Life Crisis Podcast with Justin and Sean. Take it away, guys.
Alrighty, everybody. It's the Millennial Mid-Life Crisis Podcast. I'm Justin. There's Sean. We are back. Episode 4. And Sean, I'm pretty excited. This week we're talking Halloween costumes.
Ooh,
Spooky.
boogie.
And I know
Scary
I've got a few that I'm really proud of. I've got a few that were like the vinyl early 90s, late 80s plastic smock with a mask. That
Hey.
if someone lit a match next to today, you'd probably go up in flames. We had a few people write in about costumes they had as they got older. Really good costumes, actually. I know Emily sent a picture in. I was shocked at how convincing it looked. So yeah, we got a lot of good stuff. If this is your first time listening to the show, well, thank you for finding us. We are pretty much on a mission to look back at the glory days of our childhood as we get closer to 40 years old. And you can find us and write to us in a variety of ways. You can do so by searching Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts by searching Millennial Midlife Crisis Podcast. You can find us on Facebook.com/MMC Podcast 1. You can email the show at mmcpodcast1@gmail.com. If you want to find all of our links, you can go to the very easy and user-friendly website, which is linktree.com/MMC podcast. That is linktree.com/MMC podcast. Or if you want to text us or leave us a voicemail that we will play on the air, 1-815-905-CLUB. So, Sean, I don't know about you, but it was almost like 80 degrees on my way home today from work. This is like a crazy, crazy late fall splurge of warmth.
I agree. I left the house today. It was 62 degrees. I was in a polo shirt to go to work. I was in short sleeves comfortably all day. I may have even broken a sweat or two. And that's okay because I am not a fall. To me is just the beginning of the end. I'm a summer guy.
Yeah, same here.
So fall to me, I know people talk about the changing of the leaves, and I appreciate that, and I get it, the changing of the colors and all that. But to me, it's like the beginning of the end. I watch trees die and things like that, and
yeah,
then it gets cold and the snow falls, and
raking leaves is literally like my personal own hell. I hate raking leaves. You get blisters, or at least maybe I'm raking leaves wrong. This is the first time this year I looked up how much it would cost to have someone just come and like do the landscaping for the leaves. I think they call it a fall cleanup, which was a new term that I had never heard of before. And I pitched it to Erica because I'm like, we have 2 kids. We're not going to have time. And she's like, well, I like raking leaves. It'll give me something to do. And I'm like, well, okay, that's going to take a long time. Living on a corner, we have too many trees. But the reason I bring that up, it kind of ties in nicely to our episode. Living in Chicago or in the Midwest in general, you are privy to being subject to having to tell everyone what your costume is on Halloween because you have to wear a huge winter coat over it, which I know next week, I think the high is 35 I saw. So we are going from 70 or 80 to 35 in 1 week, which is typical Chicago weather.
I was gonna say that's the Chicago way right there. I mean yes.
You'll get all 4 seasons in a week if it's a good time, right?
Sometimes in a day.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, before we get to the Halloween stuff, though, we figured we do have a little bit of time. The first 1 or 2 episodes, we were kind of asking questions back and forth. So our listeners, obviously, if you're listening because you're a fan of Sean, you might not know me, and if you're listening because you know me, I won't call you a fan of me because I don't know if I warrant having fandom. But if you know me but don't know Sean, you might want to get to know him a little bit. So, Sean, you have a huge notebook of questions and conversation starters because that's just the guy you are. So, start us off. What do you got in the hopper for this week?
I think the listeners would like to know what would be Justin's go-to karaoke song.
All right. Well, if you know me, I am very introverted. I I don't.
That's why I started with this
Yeah,
one.
right. So I don't, which is odd considering I've hosted podcasts and stuff. There's something very different about doing it in the comfort of your own home on a microphone where it's just you and one or two other people. Um, I don't know. You would have to pay me a large sum of money to get me on stage to do karaoke. And B, it's funny. Everyone at work says, "Oh, you're so easygoing and friendly and kind, and you're always willing to talk to us." I'm like, "Well, I'm being paid to do those things. That's why." I'm being paid to be an extrovert at work. But anyway, if I had to, gun to my head, you have to get up there and sing. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. When I used to teach middle school, the last day of school, we did a karaoke party, and the kids made me get up there with one of the young teachers, who I think he's like 20. He was 24 or 25. And then, here's old ass me. I was like 35, 34 at the time. And he's like, "All right, let's do a song from your childhood." I'm like, "Well, I hate you for saying that." And there is video of me somewhere doing Ice Ice Baby. And granted, it's in front of a bunch of 6th and 7th graders, but I got into it and I cut a rug, as they say.
Would one say you got jiggy with it?
I got jiggy. It was the Return of the Mac. I don't know, all these other. That would be my walk-up song in baseball, by the way.
I love that.
That would be a good one for me. Yeah, it would definitely be something like that I know by heart, that I wouldn't have to stare at the screen too much. So it would probably be something 90s-ish, which I guess is, kind of par for the course, but it would take
I'm a little surprised you've never done it.
No, I mean, I don't know, you know me. I'm not.
Yeah, but still,
even when I'm around people I know, I don't call attention. If is that a way to, I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know how to put it, but yeah, I mean, that is a really good question. What would you sing? I don't even know. Now, see, I know you've done this before. I without a doubt, I know you have.
I've actually done. My friends and I. Before I get to the answer, my friends and I used to do. I say used to. We did it once, but it was a great night. We would do what, Justin, you would probably refer to as your worst nightmare. We went to a karaoke. We went to a bar that was doing karaoke, and we blindly picked each other's songs.
Oh God, okay. I retract my earlier statement about this being my own personal hell. That is my own personal hell right there. Yeah.
So
not having control of the situation would make it 10 times worse.
So it was, we did lay some ground rules to a point. No like hardcore rap, because not necessarily because of content, just because, I mean, that's just, if you can't keep up with it or you don't know it's not going to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gave each other some doozies that night. I can tell you, I got She's Like the Wind, Patrick Swayze. That was me.
Oh wow.
Yep.
That's a good one.
But there is something about it. There is, when you do regular karaoke, and you do it on, we'll call it on purpose. You put your name on the piece of paper, you put your song, you put it in the hat, or you give it to the guy who's running it or whatever. And there are some nerves, even beforehand. But it's a completely different animal when you're sitting there just mid-conversation, having a drink, talking to your friends, and all of a sudden you hear like, "Sean to the stage, Sean to the stage."
Yeah, no.
And we did not know, because by then the karaoke guy was in on it.
Mm-hmm.
We did not know what we were going to sing until literally the audience knew it too. We would walk up, we would stand, we would grab the mic, we would stare at the screen, and then all of a sudden, "She's Like the Wind" pops up on the screen, Patrick Swayze. And I'm
like, I'm trying to think. I know, is it in Japan where, I know karaoke is a big deal, but like they have it where like you get your own little private rooms, right? Do they? I don't know.
I believe that you are correct. Yeah.
Okay. I've never seen that. Well, granted, I don't even know if I've ever been to a karaoke bar, so I don't know if they have that in the United States either. But, it's funny thinking about this. Like even when I was in college, that would have been, or college and graduating from college, mid to late 2000s, early 2010s, I guess I would say. That was when Rock Band was really big. And granted, playing the drums growing up, like I loved that, because that was like very similar. Like if you could get really good at that, you were very close to actually being able being able to play the drums. So anyway, whenever we would have rock band parties with my friends, and we'd have everybody playing, everybody would take turns. And even then, we're, with a group of friends, I know everyone. And at that point had known them for years. They were cousins of Erica that I had known from playing hockey and stuff. I still would not sing. And so I don't know what my deal is. I also, I don't want to say I'm not tone deaf because I can match tone, but it's almost like that age old rule, like don't let the drummer sing.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. Like in my head, in the car, when I'm belting out a song, oh, it sounds perfect. But then when I hear myself on the microphone, I'm like, that is not how it's supposed to sound. So I don't know.
I love your rule of don't let the drummer sing, because I have no musical ability whatsoever. No drums, no guitar, no clarinet, no anything. And
well, you can sing
I
them.
will.
That's okay. No,
just because I can read the words doesn't necessarily mean it's a song.
I will say the only time that rule I think can be broken, and it was broken well, was it Phil Collins was the drummer for Genesis?
Correct.
That not to go on a tangent, but that is a guy, like, I love listening to Genesis and Phil Collins now. I don't know if that's like an adult contemporary getting older thing. And Ringo Starr wasn't bad as a singer. I'm not a fan of Yellow Submarine, which I know was one of the songs he sang, but is what it is. What else you got for me?
Well, I wanted to just going back to the karaoke thing. With me, I will let you guys in on a little secret on how to be successful at karaoke.
Okay.
So this is how you read the room, depending on where you're at. And I mean geographically, because I once went to a VFW hall or something with a bunch of people.
Okay.
It was like New Lenox or somewhere down.
Let me guess. It was like Army night, and you were singing In the Navy. Is that
no?
Okay.
Close. They were doing karaoke. We all decided to go.
Okay.
I will never be the first one, because this is how you succeed at karaoke. I swear to God, it works. You read the room. You wait until everybody's like not drunk, but got that good buzz going. The room's full of energy, whatever. And then you pick a song that everybody knows, because they will sing it themselves. They won't hear you, and you look like a hero. So let me give you this quick example. At that bar, it was like Joliet or New Lenox or somewhere out, maybe Homer Glen, somewhere out that way. And for those of you who are not local listeners, these are kind of rural farm town-ish areas.
Yeah, like I feel like it's where they're adjacent to more populated suburbs, right? Like
yeah. But the ruralness will come in handy here. It was a bit of a cowboy bar. Is the point I'm trying to make. So I waited. Everybody was good and buzzed up, and the group I was with was like, I swear to God, if you don't get up there right now, I'm gonna put your name in. Blah 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 blah. And I kept saying, wait, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. It's not time yet. And then when I felt the moment was right, I put my name on a list. And ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
But the place went
of course.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. And I'm not bragging. True story. Some girl got up on the bar, and the bartender yelled at her in the middle of my song because she was so drunk, but she was so into the song.
Of course.
I'm telling you, if you just read the room, wait for the right moment, it'll work.
I feel like if you're in the south suburbs or the south side of Chicago, going with like Don't Stop Believin' by Journey, because that was the 2005 White Sox World Series song. I think that's a safe bet.
I'm going to disagree, because that is not an easy song to sing.
No, it's not. It's not. As somebody who was maybe humming along to it in the car today. No, it's not. It's not. Excellent to see them live, though. I remember when we went to go see them live. That would have been
we did.
Close to 15 years ago now, probably. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know, but
in the pouring rain.
In the pouring rain at what was it then? Was it still the Tweeter Center in Tinley Park, I think?
It probably was back then, yeah.
And I remember that's when people were using the lawn seating that's on a gigantic hill to do runs down in the mud and slide all the way down to the covered seating.
Yeah, anytime you go there in the rain, that's bound to happen.
It's coming,
I've been there a few times where it's rained, and that always seems to happen because like most of high school, every weekend in the summer I was there
Oh,
because
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like $20 to see, like Journey or Whitesnake or
Mhm.
Def Leppard, Styx, Heart. Who
Yeah,
else have I
Heart
seen?
was really good too. I think
Journey,
Cheap Trick was with that
Deep
show, I
Trick.
think,
That was
too.
the other.
Yeah.
I was like, I know there was somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used because back in the day they would give you the thing where it was like as you were leaving they were like Poison will be here next week, it'll be
Yeah.
$20, and then you'd keep the thing and you'd go back next weekend and you
Right.
do it again. Yeah,
Right.
I
Oh,
saw
good
all the
times.
'80s hair metal,
Good
not in their
times.
prime.
No, you're paying for their like insurance bills at this point. I don't know when you go to do the search, but that's all right. They as long as they can still put on a show, it's worth it.
And they did.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I don't know. You want to do one more before we get to the Halloween costumes?
Yeah, the other one that I think would be a fun question for now anyway is if we were gonna make Justin's life movie,
Oh God,
who would play you?
who I would want me to be played by, or just in general, who would probably play me?
Ooh, that's an interesting follow-up. I was originally thinking you're casting your own
Okay.
movie.
I think I got it. All right. So if I'm casting the movie, just because he's probably my favorite actor. Well, no, he's one of my favorite actors. And I think this would allow for maybe some really cool sci-fi action scenes, but I'm thinking I could have Keanu Reeves play me.
Okay.
I think that would be pretty cool. If we're going by me, just my personality and the way I kind of do my own thing, it would probably be somebody like Michael Cera. I don't know. So I'm thinking like Michael Cera from Juno or Michael Cera from Superbad. I feel like was my personality in high school. That was me. Like, don't want to
I,
really rock the boat.
I
You
think
know,
you were cooler than that though.
you think so?
I do.
I always I still will never forget, and this is if anyone from our high school is listening, they're gonna laugh at me for saying this. But I remember in junior year, I ran for like student council. I think I ran for like vice president, or it was like the junior class advisory board. It was some student government thing.
Yeah.
And I remember it was me and two other really popular girls. And so my whole life, like I and I'm sure you can probably attest to this too in the way you kind of have kind of grown up, but like I was never really one of the popular kids. I had friends who were popular, so I could kind of mingle into that group. I did theater and in speech for a little while, so I could mingle with that group. I played sports. I played ice hockey and baseball. I could mingle with the athletes for a little bit. And then like I don't know, I just tried to even the people that were nerdier and geekier than me, like I wasn't an a-hole. I would still talk to them and like they're still human beings, right? So I remember I won and I was excited. And I remember one of the quote unquote like popular kids came up to me and they're like, well, you only won because you split the popular vote and all the people you're nice to that are really nerdy, they all voted for you. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a dick thing to say, but okay. I'm like, I don't know. But
split the popular vote. That's
yeah.
So like beyond that's like a
high
political
school, yeah.
Yeah, that's like deep politics thinking.
So yeah, so I don't know. I definitely wasn't one of the like jockey sport. I mean, I played sports, but I was never like the all what am I trying to say here? Be all end all. I don't know. I kind of floated between groups and
I get that. I did much of the same.
What about you? Who would play you, and then realistically, who would probably play you?
I kind of have the same answer for both.
Okay.
We kind of to piggyback off of what we talked about before with the celebrities that look like us. I think Topher Grace looks enough like me.
Sure.
That it wouldn't need a lot of anything. And also, I can't imagine he's been doing much lately, so I'm sure he would jump at the chance.
No, I don't know if you saw that 70s Show remake on Netflix. Oh boy,
I didn't hear great things.
No, the scenes where the original cast were in it. Okay, I maybe would have watched that, but then when they brought the new cast in and trying to separate, like, okay, is it that I don't like the new cast or is it just bad writing? I think it was a little bit of both. Like they were really grasping at straws, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
I
it was
heard
more
it
the
was.
writing.
I heard it was borderline, and again, have not seen it. So
Yeah.
for those of you who have, maybe I'm wrong, but I heard it was pretty cringy with like the love
Yeah.
stories, and they were like young kids.
Yes, and Eric and I only made it through the pilot, and I
Oh
remember
wow!
we finished watching it. I'm like, on the count of 3, 1, 2, and no, and I'm like, okay, good. I was gonna say otherwise you're watching this by yourself because I don't know about you, and I can't remember what the term is because I just heard it on the radio the other day, but I get like a cringe through proxy where like I'm embarrassed for someone if it's extremely cringy. You know what I mean? Like, and that's
I
kind of the vibe I was getting. I'm like,
oh
oh,
wow!
this is not. I don't know. I mean, we lived in the 90s. That is not. It's
It's
not.
not the way we lived.
Not the way we lived. I don't know. And it was just a lot of like, much like our podcast, but I think we do it better. Like, hey, oh, you have an Alanis Morissette poster on your wall. That's cool. I also like ironic. And then like just like stuff like that.
They
Like
were they were just like basically
checking
name
boxes.
dropping
Yes.
90s stuff.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly. Or oh, now I don't remember this, but it was like you have a Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper. Wow. Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that was the equivalent of the writing, but now I want a Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper. But yeah, anyway, not good. But so yeah, he should have plenty of time to do things.
Yeah, I mean, he was in like the one. What was the Spider-Man 3, and that was about
he was
it.
Eddie Brock. He was
Yeah,
Venom.
yeah.
He was not good in that movie either.
It was cool to see that side of him, though.
Yes, it was. It was cool to see that. This might be a hot take, but I don't mind those Tom Hardy Venom movies.
I'm not.
I've only
going
seen
to
the first one.
I'm not going to pretend that I've seen any of them.
Okay.
I am, believe it or not a huge superhero guy.
No?
Just in general.
See, I've only Batman, Spider-Man are really the only two I see. And then I used to love the X-Men as a kid, mostly because of the cartoon. So I remember seeing a couple of those movies, and then that fell off. But yeah. So all right. Well, should we get to the reason we're here? Should we get to the Halloween? We'll have
Yeah,
the good
the
Halloween stuff.
hauntings,
All right. So
the creepiness.
we came up with this topic. Like we said, it is a week from Halloween today. Next Tuesday is Halloween. The trick-or-treating will be over by now. Hopefully. I don't know. I'm not answering the door at 9:00 at night. Man, I'm turning into an old grumpy person.
To turn your porch light off. That's what my mom does.
And we just installed one of those Ring doorbells, so my notifications on my phone are going to be going off left and right. But man, I sound like such an old crabby person, Sean. What is happening?
You're becoming an old crabby person.
I am.
I mean,
I am. Well, yeah, that's for sure.
This is a true story. Don't get me started about the kids at the gym.
Okay.
We will have an episode where we just old crab out and just alienate our younger audience.
Old man yelling at clouds, you know.
Yes. Yes. I am down for a night of that.
All right. So our goal for tonight was to discuss our favorite and worst, or least favorite costumes for Halloween that either we wore ourselves, either when we were kids or adults, or maybe we saw someone wear as a kid or as an adult that we're like, oh, that was a really cool idea, or oh God, what were you thinking? Sean, you want to start us off?
I will take you back to, I'm not exactly sure what year, but if I had to make a guess, 2000 maybe.
Okay.
Not to quote Conan, but yes, in the year 2000.
I used to love that skit.
I did too, especially when it was after the year 2000. I think it only improved with time.
It got better.
I was, as we've peppered in the last few conversations, I'm a car racing fanatic, so on and so forth. And I was Jeff Gordon one year, and I loved it until I destroyed the costume because it was almost sold out. They only had one size left. It was probably a size too small. It was very tight on me, and I think I made it around the block once, and it ripped. And it was that real cheap, I don't know what it was made out of, but just what every Halloween costume is made out of, where you can, like, you hold it up and you can almost see through it.
Yeah.
And it ripped.
Sean, they do say rubbing is racing. So.
Oh,
hey,
my God.
There you go.
That's one of the few so that was the end of that. It was fun because it was like, it looked like a fire suit. It was the closest thing at that time that I had worn to a fire suit. So I thought it was just.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
That would be pretty cool. You'll have to dig up a photo of that or something.
I'm sure my mom has one somewhere.
We'll have to put them on the Facebook page or something.
Yeah.
I know my mom's got photos of the ones I'm going to bring up. All right. Well, I have two in particular. I'll get the first one out of the way because I arguably think this was my best costume. This would have been fourth grade. It's burned into my memory. So fourth grade would have been 96, 97, something like that. For whatever reason, the year before, one of my good friends dressed up as a nerd, and I just thought that was the funniest costume. So he was like, he had the real big glasses, real thick, like Coke bottle glasses, had the tape, had I don't know what you call them, but like in the, I don't know, 40s or 50s, maybe 30s, they had like the cap that had the little like propeller on it.
Sure.
He had that, had suspenders, had like really, really ugly looking, like, they look like golf pants almost. They were like the plaid pants, really, really big oversized shoes. And I'm like, okay, that I lost my mind in third grade seeing that. I'm like, oh my God, that is the best costume ever. So of course the next year I'm like, well, I'm just going to copy what he did. So, but we kind of took it a different way. So we got some pants, that were, and I think my mom was maybe basing this a little bit off of like Revenge of the Nerds, I think is the direction she was going with. Now, at the time, I had never seen the movie because probably shouldn't show that movie to like an 8 or a 9-year-old, but
correct.
I don't know, maybe, yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I can't remember how raunchy it gets. But anyway, I had like pants, but like they only came up to like my ankles, so they were like Millhouse like floods from The Simpsons. I had a pocket protector.
Nice.
I had a dress shirt on. I had an old pair of glasses with the tape in the middle.
Nice.
I had, oh God, I don't know. I had suspenders and I had a vest, like a little vest or something. I don't know why I had that, but the best part was my mom was like, all right, we got to do something to your hair because I didn't have the little beanie cap or whatever. So she's like, let's give you an alfalfa. And I'm like, great. That,
nice.
That would be perfect. Like a cowlick or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Now, this is where, and I know she's listening to this episode. This is where I take fault with her.
Uh-oh.
This would have been the 90s. There was hair gel in mousse.
Oh, there certainly was.
There was plenty of hair products to go around that if you put enough in your hair, you could easily get it to stay, the alfalfa on the back of the head. She decided to put Vaseline in my hair. And, a little bit of Vaseline will do ya. We did not use just a little bit. We used a lot. And to her credit, like the alfalfa was rock hard. It stuck up in the back of my head for a long time. And little science experiment, when you mix, the oil-based Vaseline with water, the two separate, they do not conjoin. So it's very hard to get out of your hair. So I had this greasy look probably till Thanksgiving.
Nice.
We could not get that stuff out of my hair.
Not even to this day, you probably still feel it or have dreams of like,
Yes. So the costume was awesome. And again, going back to like a cold Halloween, I remember I was so bummed because I had to cover up the entire outfit. So then you just saw me coming up with glasses and an alfalfa, and people were like, what is this kid supposed to be?
You didn't flash him at the door?
No, I didn't. You kidding me? It was cold. I played by the rules. My parents said wear a coat. I wore a coat.
No, I meant like ding dong, and then when they give you the candy, you just open up your coat.
I was just like, give me the candy. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, right. Moving on. Next house.
We're doing our up and down of the 2 blocks we lived on, and then we're going home because it was too cold. But that was arguably my favorite costume, and I have one more I can share later. But oh yeah, don't ever use Vaseline in your hair. Ever.
Just like we said last week, not only are we here to entertain, but we also educate.
It's edutainment.
Edutainment. I like it.
Yeah. Any other strike your fancy?
I mean, I actually feel like I'm coming more into Halloween now because, and this is no slight against my parents, but when I was a kid, we did a lot of the store-bought costumes, But now, I mean, because again, we kind of brought it up before that, I do improv, and every year during the Halloween show, which this year happens to be October 27th, in case this comes out before then.
Oh, it will.
Come see me in Orland Park. We dress up every year, and every year I am a stickler for details. Like you were saying with the pocket protector and stuff. I love that stuff. I will sit there and okay. So here's a good one. Here, perfect example. So a few years ago, I was John McClane. Bruce Willis
I remember that costume. Yeah,
from the original Die Hard. So I had the undershirt. It was gray. It was all beat up. I bought the makeup dirt. I put it all over like my arms and my face and all that. I went so far as even taking the Sharpie, and I had the hit list on my wrist. And during the show, it basically sweat off. And I did that entire show barefoot.
You are.
And I prayed and I asked the cast. I was like, "Can you please just do me a favor? We can do whatever you want tonight, but please don't step on my feet."
You are dedicated to your craft, Sean.
I am dedicated to my costumes. I will say that.
See, okay, now again, I'm going back to I feel like a Grinch. As I've gotten older, I have liked Halloween less and less, and I think I'm going to put the blame on my wife for this one. So Erica, if you're listening, she is the Halloween queen. We actually, because it was, still 70 out this afternoon, we took the kids for a walk to look at all the Halloween decorations. We have a few up, but this year with, having a newborn, it was it's too hard to put all that stuff up. But she loves it, and that's great. But she wants everyone else to love it too. So I'm trying to be as diplomatic here as I can. So when we started dating, it was always, okay, well, let's do a couple's costume. And I'll be honest, after about 6th grade, maybe 7th grade, I stopped dressing up. I'm good. I don't want to go trick-or-treating.
I did too for a while.
Yeah, I even when we, you and I, our mutual friends would have Halloween parties, and she would be like, "No, you need to dress up. It's a Halloween party." And I'm like, I'm going as a, poor
college student, a working man, or whatever.
Yeah, working man, a poor college student, poor teacher, poor dad. I don't know at this point.
Yeah.
So, she loves it, and that's great. But she wrote in. I'll read what she wrote in. She said, her friend group at ISU went as the Mario characters one year, which was pretty awesome. And then she wrote in, about 2 years we did. I will admit they are cool costumes, but I just I don't want to wear this. We are both, products of 90s Nickelodeon. So one year we dressed up as Patty Mayonnaise and Doug Funny, which was very easy. I just had to buy a green sweater vest, a white, I wore a white t-shirt, some khaki shorts, and then I had Converse on, which I will admit Erica was not happy with me because I did not buy red Converse. I was like, no, I'm just going to wear the black ones I have. That is not a part of Doug's costume. And then she went all out. She bought, Patty's shirt, but then it didn't come with polka dots. So then she bought cloth fabric and cut her own polka dots and then glued them on. And then she bought a skirt and a wig and matching Converse and everything. And then one year we did Hey Arnold and Helga. And I'll be honest, I kind of slacked on that one. I'm like, well, here's a dress shirt that's kind of close. I have an overshirt, because he always had the dress shirt hanging out the bottom of his shirt. And then I just, jeans and black shoes. And then I remember for his hat, I got one of those little baseball, the plastic caps you would get in the coin machines.
Yeah.
And I glued that to my head, taped it to my head. And then she made
your hair in Halloween has all kinds of trauma.
And then I want to say she made cardboard hair for me to wear because he's got the big
cardboard
head
where it popped out. Yeah.
And then she made her Helga the pink dress. She had a blonde wig, a headband, and then she drew on the unibrow that Helga has, which not the most attractive thing, not gonna lie, but so she goes all in. I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, as I've gotten older, I don't know, even the last couple of years now that we have kids, it's all right, well, I'm gonna throw on a hockey jersey or a baseball jersey, or I think last year I put on a Bulls jersey, and I'm like, look, I'm a basketball player, and she's like, you're wearing jeans. I'm like, but I have a jersey on. I'm a basketball player. The only other costume, going back to my childhood, I remember in 6th grade, I don't know if in your grade school, were the 60s kind of a big thing again when you were in school in the 90s? Even borderline 70s. And maybe that's kind of why the 80s got so big, a little while ago with Stranger Things and everything. But the 60s were kind of a big deal for whatever reason in 6th grade for us. And so there was a couple girls that loved the 60s and the 70s. And so they're like, we're going to dress up as the Brady Bunch. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And she's like, they were like, we need someone shorter than us to be Cindy Brady. And I was like, yeah, that you do.
You certainly do.
You certainly do. It's a shame girls are usually so much taller than the boys in 6th grade, And they're like, well, why don't you get a wig and you can dress up as Cindy Brady? And at the time, because I liked Halloween, I'm like, that sounds like an amazing idea. So I remember we talked to one of my sister's friends who liked a bunch of the 60s stuff. So I had like 60s boots and a 60s blouse and a 60s skirt and a wig and everything. And like, I thought it was the funniest thing ever in 6th grade. Now, could you get me to do that now? Probably not. I still remember this was in the day of, VHS camcorders. My mom or my dad was recording, and you can hear a couple dads next to them saying like, oh, that's cute. Those 3 girls are, from the 60s or 70s. Like, they knew right away based on what we were wearing that we were supposed to be the Brady Bunch. And the one guy goes, yeah, but the one that's the smallest, dude, that's a guy. And they're like, that's awesome. And I'm like, oh. So, those are the 2 that stand out the most to me. I mean, like, there was, going back to what you said earlier about like buying the costumes and stuff as a kid. Like, I feel like we were more, what could we take from around the house and turn into a costume? Like, one year I was a baseball player. So like, I wore my baseball uniform from Little League. I was a hockey player one year. So I wore my hockey jerseys or, whatever ice hockey team I was playing on at Oakland Ice Arena at the time. I think I was Darth Vader one year. I had a Darth Vader mask, and then I like took a laser tag chest thing that I had and made that his chest thing. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I mean, it was fine. I just never went all out. Like, that was not my thing.
I also, because I kind of want to go back to what you were saying. I am 100% like Team Erica with the like the details count.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Like, speaking of like significant others and driving them nuts, 2 years ago for the improv show, I decided to be Burt Reynolds from Smokey and the Bandit. Now, I will also say, when I pick these costumes, I also normally pick ones that when I do buy, say, a shirt or whatever, I can wear it again and again and again. Like, my Smoking the Bandit shirt became like one of my work shirts. Like, same thing last year. I was Jurassic Park. It was a denim shirt and khakis.
Yeah.
And it's like denim shirt. I can wear that to work. Like, this is not a problem. I was at the mall forever, and Kelly was not having it to a certain degree, trying to pick out cowboy boots that matched Burt Reynolds from Smokey and the Bandit. And I will tell you, if you've seen Smokey and the Bandit, they show his feet or his boots in probably 30 seconds of the 2-hour movie. But I had to get it right, or as close to right as possible. Did anyone during the improv show see that or notice them? Probably not.
But
I know that it was right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that checks out. You know what? There is something to the detail, like you said, going back to a few of the ideas. Like, it is pretty cool when someone else notices it. Like, I remember when we were Doug and Patty, we went to I think a Halloween party downtown. Maybe it was on the north side with some of Erica's friends from college that were down there. And I remember, like, there was a bunch of people there. Most of them, neither one of us knew. And I remember a lot, I shouldn't say at least a couple, more than a few. They're like, oh my God, you guys are Doug and Patty. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to lie. That is pretty cool that people were able to recognize that. Cause I mean, it was, if I was by myself, you'd be like, why is this guy wearing shorts and it's 40 degrees outside? But with her,
well, Chicago, that's a thing too, though.
Yeah, I see that every day.
I will tell you with the details and the props and things. So for another improv show, I was Marty McFly.
Oh,
and I had it down to every layer. I had the red T-shirt, then I had the checkered shirt, the suspenders, the denim jacket, the vest, the jeans, the white T-shirt. Here was the best part. My director at the time, a little bit older than us, had an old camcorder, and that's how I walked on stage.
That's
just
perfect.
like in the beginning when you see the DeLorean for the first time. And and you will not appreciate this, it was 2015, because the Cubs won in 16, right?
Yes, correct.
So this was 15, because it was when they almost made it. And I walked on stage, and the first words out of my mouth, especially being a Southside Sox fan, was, "Hey, did the Cubs win yet?" Audience instantly turned on me, and I loved every second of it.
Yes.
And then everyone's like, "Oh!" And then I brought him back because I said, I don't know, I don't even remember what I said, just some Marty McFly line, and everyone's like, "But he's dressed like him, and he's cool," and yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I'm trying to think, like, even this year, I know we'll take the kids trick-or-treating for the first time now that Maddie's a little bit old enough to kind of get it. And I know she's dressing up as something from Sesame Street because that's her world right now. But I know Erica will probably wear her Sesame Street shirt that she wore for her birthday party because we did the Sesame Street birthday party. I'm assuming that I will be required to wear the Cookie Monster shirt that I had for the party because why not?
She's not making you dressed as Big Bird. Think of it as a win.
Not yet. But you know, it's so funny though. She is trying so hard to get Maddie to like Halloween, and I'm like, she's 2. Give her time. But like, we stopped at all these decorations around the neighborhood, and Maddie's just pointing and yelling and like skeletons and oh look, there's bats in the tree, and I'm like, oh god, this would traumatize me if I was that age. But yeah, I'm like revenge will be sweet because then once the Christmas lights go up, that kid's listening to Christmas music until from November 1st to January 1st. So I'll have my way.
That's all you can ask for.
That's all you can do. What a great parenting lesson, right?
Hey, whatever.
Melissa wrote in, and I do remember the one she mentioned because I want to say I was playing on the softball team that we were on out in Tinley Park. Go Shamrocks. Melissa wrote, she said, once Mark, her husband, and her were Mia Wallace and Vincent Vega.
That's awesome.
The Halloween softball game they had for their fall league. She said, I even had a syringe sticking out of my chest for almost 2 of the games. It was a doubleheader before it busted on a play. Yeah, they are. She is another one, much like Erica, and I think it rubbed off on her because that's Erica's cousins. She loves Halloween. Like that, I somehow got into a group chat with the 2 of them, and it's just Halloween memes back and forth from about September until Halloween. And then it's just me sending gifs of like, no, God, no, you know, the Michael Scott gif over and over again. But I do remember that was pretty cool. That was something, that league, they were all 4 people dressing up in the fall league when we had a game the week of Halloween. I remember, and this will become as a surprise to no one, I was the only one on the team that didn't dress up. So when I
went as an outsider,
I went as a softball player. I had my softball t-shirt and my cleats and my swoosh pants at the time because it was cold out. And I remember her or Mark, I can't remember. They're like, well, no, that's not going to work. You need a costume. You're not going to be the only one on the team without a costume. So someone literally went and got a roll of toilet paper, and I had to be a mummy for the whole game. And so like, I just had toilet paper hanging off me while I was trying to make throws, which that was about, you know, the extent of that night. So
you need to be like Jim from The Office and just write. Yes, exactly. You know what I mean?
Just get like the 3 hole punches, or
I feel
face, you know,
yes.
Or my name is, I can't remember what the other one was where he had the name tag on, right?
Yeah, and I think it was just mine. It's like, I just went as Jim today or something
Jim,
like that. I don't remember specifically, but I feel like that is your wheelhouse because you're funny and creative and you don't want to dress up for Halloween.
No.
So I think if you just do your thing, I think it'll be great.
I'm trying to figure out where this, I wouldn't call it full-blown dislike because I think I like the cutesy Halloween stuff from like when I was a kid, and when I find those decorations I'm like, oh, let's put these up around the house. She's like, no, there's not enough blood and guts and entrails coming out of them. And I've never been a scary movie guy, so maybe that's why I'm just never, you know, to me, give me Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin and I'm good. Or I know Eric, or we've watched the Garfield Halloween special a couple times, which was fine. I don't know. I never watched that as a kid, but I do not want to watch Halloween or Friday the 13th or Saw or Freddy Krueger. That's Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
Yes.
See, I don't even know the names. I've stayed so far away from these movies.
I mean, not to be that guy, but I mean, really, if you want to see something scary, just watch the news nowadays.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a given. Yeah, I try to avoid that. The scariest I've gotten is like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I think I remember, was it the year before the pandemic for Halloween? We had the Are You Afraid of the Dark party where we watched them in the basement. I think you guys were here for that.
So I would, yes, we were there.
And
I don't remember the year. I'm not gonna lie.
It was within the last 5 years, we'll say. But like, I remember that show scared me so much as a kid, and then watching it at that party. That show is cheesy as hell.
Oh yeah.
But still, the red skeleton that comes out of the pool.
That's my favorite episode. That's still my favorite episode
ever.
That and the one with the door.
Oh yeah, that was.
They open it and they can see
there's like eyes or something, right? Or that might be a different one. There's I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah.
And then there's one where they're stuck in the mall and it's like a pinball machine or something. That was a good one. But anyway,
we'll have to do an episode on that.
We will.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Actually, I'm gonna add that to my list.
We might have to have Erica on. She can be like our official expert on Are You Afraid of the Dark. I'm good with that. Emily wrote in and she provided a picture, which was awesome. She said, normally not one to pat myself on the back, and I can't take credit since it was my husband's idea, but my costume last year was a hit. When you injure yourself and you need to use your knee scooter as part of the costume and you win a prize. She was Elliot and she had like a little ET. So she had the red hoodie, the jeans, the scooter with the basket in front of it with ET. It was very convincing. Again,
details go
a long way,
far and away. And that's another thing that actually I wanted to bring up tonight was just, I love those when the parents incorporate like a kid's wagon, they make it into like a race car or like a cage if they're dinosaurs or the kids that are in wheelchairs and they incorporate that. I love, if you can be creative and detail oriented. I know details like the word of the night.
Yeah.
I like, if I somehow was in a position of judgment, I would be like, blue, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like gold medal, gold star, blue ribbon. That was the one I was trying to get out all day long. I mean, just even if it's, I don't want to say lame. Lame's the wrong word. Even if it's mundane, we'll say it that way, like a Dracula or a ghost or a mummy. But if you do something. And just like a real quick story, Kelly and I were at the Route 66, the raceway this past Saturday.
Sure.
And they had a Halloween contest. This kid dressed as a guy in an electric chair.
Wow.
And it had the fake legs. Obviously, he was walking on his real legs, but around his hips were like the armrests of like the chair. He had the chair back above him. He took like a sort of a lampshade kind of thing, had a strobe light that worked in it.
Wow.
And yeah, he was a guy in an electric chair and he was fully mobile and he went to the racetrack in it. I mean, that's pretty cool. It was cool.
And I feel like too, and see, I think this is where I'm going to get swept up in Halloween is because like, not to get all like sentimental, but like his dad or his mom and him had to build and work on that together. And like, that's a lifelong memory he's going to have now.
Well, I painted this a little. He's probably old.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
But
he's gonna have that memory of working on it himself. Then I guess.
But somebody had to spark that in him, and we'll give the credit to his parents. So
there you go.
But yeah, it was just wow. It was mind blowing for being Halloween costume.
Any others on your ends that either you want to call out or any I feel like we've been pretty positive. I can't really think of any costumes in general where I was like, oh, that was an awful costume. Can anything come to mind in terms of like ones that you didn't really like, either growing up or ones you've seen that you're like, that doesn't really work well?
Well, I mean, I've seen ones that are, I mean, you see the ones where they're just trying to get attention. Like I was at a concert one year and there was a guy dressed as the Twin Towers, which was I'm like, if this guy walks out of here without getting like punched in the face, like it's been a miracle.
Yeah.
It's just one of those guys looking for attention, just kind of trying to stir
like
the pot.
Value kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but that would be that's literally, excuse me, probably the worst costume I've ever seen.
I'm trying to think. I really can't. Yeah, I don't know. And it's funny. Like when I was a kid, I remember getting so angry at the kids that wouldn't like dress up, like the older kids when they would just show up and ring your doorbell and want candy. And like I don't know, maybe it's because I've gotten older now, but I'm like, you know what? You went out, yeah, you didn't get a costume, but you know what? The world is such a crappy place, and you're gonna grow up and be an adult very soon. It's like, here, take a Reese's. It's no skin off my back. Like, you know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at now. I'm like, go have fun, you little hooligan. Please don't egg my car. Like that's about it. But
yeah.
That
was a thing too. The whole eggs and shaving cream thing. That's a big Halloween thing. That was practically a costume in itself, depending on where you were at. And I don't know if you partook in any of that stuff.
No.
Really?
No. I was too much of a goody two shoe, Sean. I steered clear of that. I was always, once I had a car though, I would always beg my parents. I'm like, please let me pull in the garage, or let me park. I don't want to park on the street. Someone from school is going to egg my car, because you'll recall, Sean, I was the idiot that thought he was Vin Diesel and had the gigantic ass spoiler on the back of my car for a 4-door 98 Ford Escort in 2003. So,
well,
if I could go back, I would egg my car if I saw that.
I'd kick myself in the nose.
Yeah, if I had to wear those pants, I'd kick my own ass. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm racking my brain. I don't know. Is that an episode? That might be an episode.
I mean, we could call it. We could put the period on the sentence.
All right. Well, hold on.
Whoops! You know what the music means. Our time is up.
I know what the music means.
All right. Well,
but wait, there's more. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. On that note, again, check out linktree.com/MMC podcast. Email the show at mmcpodcast1@gmail.com, or call or text us at 1-815-905-CLUB. We will be back either next week or the week after. We'll see how we're feeling. We'll come up with a new 80s or 90s topic, and we'll let everybody know on the Facebook page so you can write in. John, you got anything else you want to add?
I got nothing other than, like I said, if this comes out before October 27th, come see me live and in person. If not, November 17th will be the next show after that.
And those are both in Orland Park?
Orland Park, the Cultural Center.
Very nice.
8 o'clock. Be there.
Right.
The October show, everybody's in costume. Maybe next week we'll talk about what I dressed as.
Sean is very funny, so I would recommend it. He's a funny guy. He's willing to go the extra mile to make someone laugh. So, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. All right. Anyway, that's it. We'll see you next time. Have a safe and happy Halloween. And take it easy.
Don't eat too much candy.
No. Bye, everybody.
Bye.